Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that affects every single one of us, every single day: water. When we look at our beautiful planet from space, we see a stunning blue marble. It's no wonder we call it the blue planet. Water covers about 71% of the Earth's surface. That's a staggering amount, right? It seems like we're practically swimming in it. But here's a mind-bending paradox for you. In a world so drenched in water, why are we constantly hearing about water scarcity, droughts, and the need to conserve? It's a question that can feel a bit confusing. If water is everywhere, how can it be a precious, limited resource? Well, the secret lies in the details, and specifically in the difference between salt water and fresh water. Let's break it down. That vast 71%? About 97% of all the water on Earth is salt water, found in our oceans and seas. It's magnificent, full of life, and crucial for regulating our planet's climate. But for us humans, and for most life on land, it's undrinkable. Think about it. You can't water your plants with it. You can't use it for your morning coffee. And our bodies simply can't process that much salt. This leaves us with just a tiny sliver of the pie. Only about 3% of all the water on Earth is fresh water. 3%. Already, that number feels incredibly small, doesn't it? But wait, the story gets even more complicated. Of that tiny 3% of fresh water, where is it all? You might imagine it's all in our rivers and lakes, ready for us to use. But you'd be surprised. Over 2/3 of that fresh water, roughly 68% of it, is locked away, frozen in glaciers and ice caps, mostly in places like Antarctica and Greenland. While these icy reserves are absolutely vital for the planet's health, they aren't exactly flowing from our taps. They are massive frozen reservoirs of fresh water that are, for all practical purposes, inaccessible for our daily needs. So, if we take the frozen water out of the equation, what are we left with? We're down to less than 1% of the world's total water. And even then, most of that remaining freshwater isn't in easily accessible lakes and rivers. A huge chunk of it, about 30% of our freshwater, is groundwater. It's stored underground in aquifers, which are like natural underground sponges made of rock and sand. This is a critical source of drinking water for billions of people around the world. We access it by drilling wells, and it's what feeds many of our springs and rivers. But it's not an infinite resource. Overpumping aquifers can cause them to deplete faster than they can be naturally replenished by rainfall, which is a growing problem in many regions. So after all that, what's left for us on the surface? All the water in all the world's rivers, swamps, and freshwater lakes combined makes up less than 1% of all freshwater. Let me say that again. All the rivers and lakes we see, the sources we've built our civilizations around for millennia, represent a tiny fraction of the world's total water. It's a bit like having a massive library, but 97% of the books are in a language you can't read, and of the remaining 3%, most are locked in a vault you can't open. The books available on the shelves for you to actually read are just a handful. This is why we talk about water being so precious. The water we use every day for drinking, cooking, cleaning, growing our food, and manufacturing everything from our clothes to our smartphones comes from this incredibly small, accessible supply. Now, let's think about how we use this precious resource. The biggest user, by a long shot, is agriculture. Globally, about 70% of the fresh water we withdraw is used for farming, to irrigate crops and raise livestock. This makes sense. We all need to eat. But it also highlights how much water is embedded in our food. That single apple you ate for a snack? It could have taken around 125 liters of water to grow. That cup of coffee? Nearly 140 liters. It's what we call virtual water, the hidden water footprint of the products we consume. Industry comes in second, using about 20% of fresh water for manufacturing, processing, cooling, and transport. And finally, our domestic use, the water that comes out of our taps at home for drinking, showering, and washing, accounts for about 10% of the total. When you look at it this way, you start to see the bigger picture. The demand on this very limited resource is immense, and it's growing. The world's population is increasing, economies are developing, and our consumption patterns are changing. More people means more demand for food, energy, and consumer goods, all of which require water. At the same time, climate change is throwing a wrench in the works. It's affecting the water cycle in unpredictable ways. Some areas are experiencing more intense droughts, while others are getting hit with extreme flooding. The glaciers and ice caps that hold so much of our fresh water are melting at an accelerated rate. While this might temporarily increase river flows, in the long run it means the depletion of a vital long-term water storage system. So what can we do? It can feel a bit overwhelming, but the good news is there are solutions, and awareness is the first step. Understanding this paradox, that our water-rich planet is facing a freshwater challenge, is crucial. On a large scale, we need better water management. This means investing in infrastructure to reduce leaks. You'd be shocked how much water is lost from aging pipes before it even reaches our homes. It means developing more efficient irrigation techniques in agriculture, like drip irrigation, which delivers water directly to the roots of plants, minimizing evaporation. It also means finding better ways to treat and reuse wastewater. Instead of just flushing it away, we can clean it and use it for things like irrigation or industrial processes, taking pressure off our primary freshwater sources. And what about on a personal level? Does turning off the tap while you brush your teeth really make a difference? Absolutely. Every drop counts. Think of it as a collective effort. Small changes, when made by millions of people, add up to a massive impact. Taking shorter showers, fixing leaky faucets, and being mindful of our water use at home are all powerful actions. But we can also think bigger. We can be conscious consumers. Understanding the water footprint of our food and products can guide our choices. For example, reducing food waste is a huge way to save water, because when we throw away food, we're also throwing away all the water it took to produce it. The story of water is the story of us. It's a story of connection, of shared responsibility, and of innovation. It's about recognizing that the river flowing miles away, the rain nourishing a farmer's field, and the water from your kitchen tap are all part of the same delicate system. Our blue planet is a miracle, but its lifeblood, fresh water, is not infinite. It's a finite gift that we all share. By understanding its true value and working together to protect it, we can ensure that this precious resource continues to sustain us and future generations for years to come. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive today. I hope this gave you a new perspective on the water you use every day. If you found this interesting or learned something new, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. What's one way you try to conserve water in your daily life? Let's share some ideas. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.